Cd24 Life Coaching with Ideal. The Sacred Counsel, 24 out of 32. The guiding force of Ideal. Ideal. The guiding force of improvement and perfection. There is always room for improvement. I am the Divana Ideal, one of the 17 balancing forces of universe and nature, representing the force of improvement and perfection. Quote, I am not against the modern development of the present civilization, but at no cost we should compromise with the basic values of human life. There should be leisure for us. We should lead a simple, relaxed and tension-free life. There should be a unity and peace in the family, respect for the elders, and looking after the children. Our food and environment should be healthy. We should be sympathetic and helpful to others. Our development should lead us to this direction. Hazur Maharaj Charan Singh Ji. End of quote. I play a very important part in Crystalia and in the adventure of your life. You know me very well, as you always are busy with the phenomena improvement from the moment you were born, learning to eat by yourself, improving from crawling to standing, walking to running, learning to dress yourself up and going to school and being busy with getting better with endless subjects. You end up in sports or busy with other hobbies and ending up with a profession and possibly your own business. You are always busy trying to improve something and oftentimes get stressed out by not succeeding to perfect things. You seek perfection in an imperfect world, but know that you can always improve. Even when you're not busy with it actively and practically, you may look at things and others and thinking that they should be perfect. Imagine yourself sitting on the TV and watching your favorite sports team. You want them to improve and to be perfect. Quote, in spite of the development of science, the world is ignorant of the value of human form. It does not know that it is the residence of our Creator. In this form, we have the opportunity to meet Him and end our who's and wanderings. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. On the conscious level of your soul, you and Kandu, the Creator of all, are perfect, and because of this, its essence shines through your human form. You are not conscious in contact with your real self, and as a result, you seek perfection in the mortal and imperfect world, constantly changing and bound to time. You would say now, but I need to improve so many things. Of course, but do not lose sight and approaching this inner drive from the wrong angle. Realize that inside everything is the essence of Kandu, which is love, and that love is perfect. Not the shell, not the bodies. Quote, the goal of life is to make your heartbeat match the beat of the universe, to match your nature with nature. Joseph Campbell. End of quote. Be busy with improving yourself, but always ask yourself if it is for your ego, vanity, power, or just for your pocket, or is it to be independent of the help of others, and you contributing to their lives by being busy with improvements. Quote, I know even one life has bred it easier because you have lived. That is to have succeeded. Ralph Waldo Emerson. End of quote. You all have been so busy with improving your life, your immediate surroundings and the world, but didn't see that at the same time you cause destruction to yourself and the world. What is possibly mostly done for the wrong reasons. Are you aware that many times what you are calling be successful is a result of your improvement causing destruction? Maybe you think a little more because the modernization has come to a point that you cannot continue the way you're going. This time the improvements and changes you have to make are crucial, and it needs to start with you as individuals. Quote, "A mood of universal destruction and renewal has set its mark on our age. This mood makes itself felt everywhere, politically, socially, and philosophically. We are living in that what the Greeks called the kairos, the right moment for a metamorphosis of the gods, of the fundamental principles and symbols. This peculiarity of our time, which certainly is not of our conscious choosing, is the expression of our unconscious human, which within us, who is changing. Coming generations will have to take account of this momentous transformation if humanity is not to destroy itself through the might of its own technology and science. So much is at stake and so much depends on the psychological constitution of the modern human." Carl Gustav Jung. End of quote. Ideal. Knowing me and knowing what to do with me. Let's see how you unnecessarily struggle with my force in various aspects of your life. How you can change your perspective and even make some practical changes. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and each subject can have many books, because each subject can be approached from various perspectives or angles. Most important is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth and not the truth, because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world, created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always more that can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is from our point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. Hopefully, it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical, and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you will come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently, or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. Dealing with your real self, the soul. In regards to spiritual living, be on the inner path, so that one day you may realize that you are a soul, which is perfect, but that seeking perfection in the world, which is created with opposites constantly changing and bound to time, is impossible, although your book of life is perfect in its own way. Being in silent prayer and meditation and staying at the level of your soul, and everything is perfect. Quote, "Eternal life is for God alone. He lives forever, and whoever merges himself in his source, that is in God, praised be he, also enjoys eternal life. Similarly, there is no perfection except in God, praised be he, and everything outside of him is deficient. But whoever is merged in him also enjoys perfection." Rabbi Naaman. End of quote. Realize how many great souls have been on the planet, and you still do not have a perfect world in the way you perceive perfection. Maybe this world is as it is, and you just need to return to that perfect place you once came from. While being in the world, know, however, that there is always room for improvement. Dealing with your mind. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the mind will keep you busy looking for that perfect thing, place, or person in the imperfect world. Be busy with improving yourself, but always ask yourself if it is for your ego, vanity, power, or is it just for your pocket? Or is it to be independent of the help of others, and you contributing to the lives of others and being busy with improvements? Perfection in an imperfect world is impossible, but there is something perfect in you, which is your soul. But you are seldom actively with it. Stay consciously connected to your soul and improve yourself to be a better person, friend and citizen. But do not get trapped looking to perfect anything or anybody. Quote, as different streams having different sources all mingle their waters in the sea, so different tendencies varies, though they appear crooked or straight, all lead to God. Swami Vivekananda. End of quote. Dealing with your body. In regards to dealing with your physical body, know that it is existing in an imperfect world, which is created in duality, constantly changing and bound to time. You have a perfect book of life in order to find out who you truly are, but most likely not perfect to your understanding. Your physical body is something mortal, and like the creation created in duality, constantly changing and bound to time, it is thus not perfect, but subject to improvement. Accept your body and make improvements that possibly result in a better functioning of it. The revealment of the infinite in the finite, which is the motive of all creation, is not seen in its perfection in the starry heavens, in the beauty of the flowers. It is the soul of man. Rabindranath Tagore. End of quote. Dealing with communication. In regards to communication, know that there is not a perfect conversation or perfect way of communicating. Words are part of the imperfect world, bound to time, created in duality and constantly changing. Although you cannot be perfect in your way of communicating, there is always room for improvement. Quote, so if you have something to convey to another, don't wait until the perfect moment, because it may never arrive. Bianca Guerra. End of quote. Dealing with food. In regards to dealing with nutrition, you possibly think that you eat healthy, and you maybe do. Compare this with how you used to eat, but do not stop there. There is always room for improvement. Do some more investigation, as there are endless food modalities, and don't forget, the closer you eat to nature and the natural rhythms, that you get most benefits. Be careful to not seek the perfect diet. Realize that there is not one diet for you as an individual human in a world of change and seasons, and not to forget you have different needs at different times. However, in whatever diet you are involved, there is always room for improvement and better choices to be made. More fresh foods. Reduce spices when you are addicted to them. More simple meals. Fast at least 1 day a week. Eat according to the seasons with seasonal foods. Let go of deep fried foods and go more into stir frying. Drink less sodas, coffee and alcohol. Try to eat dairyless for some time. Stop the sugars. Use digestive aids after meals. Try to go organic for some time. Experience to eat without animal flesh. Expand your grain meals with unknown grains. Step into a health food store. Learn to do sprouting. Stop drinking with your meals. Dine in peace. Quote, any diet you follow can be improved by eating more green leafy vegetables, less sugar, and less refined foods. Jennifer Cornbleed. End of quote. Dealing with staying fit. In regards to fitness, are you searching for the perfect training method and trying to create the perfect body? Realize that every day you are a different person with different needs, and you are getting older, and for that reason there is not such a thing as the perfect body or the perfect method, but you can improve all the time. Each moment can be improved, each training method, and each time you exercise, but do not seek perfection in an imperfect world bound to time, created in duality and constantly changing. Quote, the knowledge of yourself will preserve you from vanity. Miguel de Cervantes. End of quote. Dealing with your life partner. In regards to your relationship, know that you are having that you're having a physical relationship in an imperfect world, which is constantly changing, created in duality and bound in time. So be careful with your thoughts about the perfect partner, relationship, and marriage, for it exists only in the spiritual regions on the level of the soul. However, you can always improve, and this you just do by doing your best, and the best means to have no excuse and no expectation. Quote, as soon as you look at the world through an ideology, you are finished. No reality fits an ideology. Life is beyond that. That is why people are always searching for a meaning to life. Meaning is only found when you go beyond meaning. Life only makes sense when you perceive it as a mystery, and it makes no sense to the conceptualing mind. Antonio de Mielo. End of quote. Dealing with your children. In regards to parenting, be careful to not try to raise the perfect child, but there is always things he or she can improve on. Quote, in God's eyes all children are beautiful, but here on earth we have higher standards. Stefan Colbert. End of quote. It is also important that your children realize your shortcomings, your imperfections, otherwise they get a wrong picture of you and the world. Although on a soul level your child is perfect, it will not be so in the physical, so watch out for your expectations. Quote, unconditional parenting, moving from rewards and punishment to love and reason. Alfie Kohn. End of quote. Dealing with preserving the planet. In regards to taking care of the planet Earth, it is not trying to create a perfect world, but making improvements away from all the destruction. When you do a little on your part, nature will take care of the rest. You are trying to create a perfect world in your eyes, but actually doing the opposite and creating an artificial world in which everybody and everything is getting sicker. Quote, by creating an artificial environment, we are not stimulating our immune system enough. Germs are immune stimulants. They challenge you to be prepared. Deepak Chopra. End of quote. Dealing with the teenage years. In regards to the teenage years, realize that there are no perfect people and no perfect families. It is about how you adapt and improve yourself. Without accepting where and who we are, we don't have a platform or base to start with. Perfection on the physical plane is impossible, but know that there is always room you can improve on or in. Quote, the beginning is the most important part of the work. Plato. End of quote. From a higher point of view, you all have a perfect book in which you cannot add or subtract, but you can learn to adapt. Not doing this is losing your life in the moment, because you are losing all your time by writing a new book and not knowing when it will show up. Dealing with getting older. In regards to dealing with getting older, have you realized by now that you are living in an imperfect world? Know, however, that there is always room for improving oneself. It is time, when you have not started the process, to reconnect with your soul, which is already perfect, and slowly letting go of your attachments to the imperfect things of the imperfect world. At the same time, it is enjoying to live in this imperfect world and seeing the beauty in it all. Quote, we are human beings, and we have this marvelous brain and marvelous heart, so there is potential to develop a proper mental attitude, through which we can have a happy, more peaceful life. Dalai Lama. End of quote. Dealing with stress. In regards to dealing with stress, are you looking for the perfect situation at home and at work without stress? Realize that there is stress everywhere, but it is what you are going to do about it and how you mentally and emotionally deal with it. Quote, "Man, by associating in large masses, as in camps and cities, improve their talents but impair their virtues, and strengthen their minds but weaken their morals." Charles Gallup Colton. End of quote. Dealing with weight. In regards to dealing with weight, are you looking for the perfect solution to lose your weight? It is the same by thinking that there is a perfect body, and those who are pictured like perfect will become older and cannot hold on to that picture. Just be in the improving business without any expectations. Be aware that there is no perfect solution, but many different paths and methods that can assist to improve your condition. Quote, "Excellence is the gradual result of always striving to do better." Pat Riley. End of quote. Dealing with disease. In regards to dealing with disease, realize that there is no perfect solution for any disease. Confronted with disease is a sign that you need to improve life in all its aspects and that you are in need of a different adventure. It is your duty to keep this mortal body in which your soul resides as healthy as possible. Quote, "Do you not know that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you?" Corinthians 3:16. End of quote. Dealing with emotions. In regards to dealing with emotions, are you seeking a perfect solution in regards to your emotions? You cannot get rid of emotions, but you can definitely improve by not connecting them to people, places, and events, and dealing better with them as they surface. When you are connected to your soul, your true self, and when you have gone beyond the realm of mind and matter, only then will you not be bothered anymore, having to deal with emotions. Quote, "To reform a world, to reform a nation, no wise man will undertake, and all but foolish men know that the only solid, though a far slower reformation, is what each begins and perfects on himself." Thomas Carlyle. End of quote. Dealing with business. In regards to dealing with your professional life, are you trying to create a perfect business with the perfect staff? Striving for perfection will result in frustration and defeat, but there is always room for improvement. Quote, "Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming." John Wooden. End of quote. Dealing with destructive habits. In regards to dealing with destructive habits and addictions, be careful not trying to be perfect, because in that mission you failed already, otherwise you would not have to deal with these habits and addictions. In the world of mind and matter, there is nothing perfect, but there is always room for improvement. Quote, "I haven't failed. I have found 10,000 ways that don't work." Thomas Edison. End of quote. Above and beyond the world of mind and matter, you can find perfection, which is your real self, your soul, and your everlasting abode. And coming from that level of consciousness, you have the perfect conditions in order to find this out. Yes, you also have a perfect book and script. Dealing with studying. In regards to studying, be careful with studying for the perfect profession and perfect job. Studying helps to improve your worldly skills, but there is not such a thing as the perfect profession or job. There always will be imperfections. All worldly studies are part of the imperfect world, bound to time, created in duality and constantly changing. Although you cannot be perfect in worldly knowledge, know that there is always room for improvement. Quote, "Knowledge has to be improved challenged and increased constantly, or it vanishes. Peter Drucker, end of quote. Dealing with friendships. In regards to friendships, know that each friend has certain dominant qualities, but never all qualities you might be looking for. Accept your friend for what they are, because on the physical plane nobody is perfect, although there is always room for improvement. Quote, how wonderful it is that nobody needs wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Anne Frank, end of quote. Summary, ideal. Ideal, the guiding force of improvement and perfection. You're all trying to find that perfect something and looking for it in all aspects of life, but you end up frustrated and feeling defeated. I am ideal, in charge of the balancing force of improvement and perfection, and encouraging you and showing you that there is always room for improvement. However, seeking perfection in an imperfect world, which is created in duality bound to time and change, is chasing an illusion. The summary. Everything in creation is part of an imperfect world, created in duality bound to time and constantly changing, in which man can always improve things about himself on all levels. You are here to experience, away from your original and perfect self and perfect home, the world of imperfection. Although the world and everything within it is imperfect, on the level of your soul, you are already perfect. Improve your life in many ways and aspects, without getting caught into the perfection of things. In order to stay aware that perfection is impossible in an imperfect world, but that you always can improve, prepare yourself for the day of how you're going to approach life, others, and situations. And at the end of the day, write down your changes, how you handled things differently by having been exposed to the information about ideal. Affirmation. There is always room for improvement, but seeking perfection in the physical world, which is imperfect, is impossible. Petrus.